Welcome back to episode 139. So this week it's back onto the 79 car. It's been quite a long time since I've been on that car. You've seen me pick up the GT, and there's been certain jobs I need to do on the GT if I'm going to carry on using it, like the cam belt and the radiator. A big thanks to Radtech for the radiator. If you've not checked out the website, there'll be a link somewhere below. That's been fantastic. Actually, what I didn't report on, I was going to make a video and I didn't in the end. After doing the radiator work and the cam belt work, I jumped in the car and drove 200, just under 300 miles round trip to see my parents. Car didn't drop a leak. Fantastic. Really pleased with that. That's actually running really well, the GT. Anyway, back onto the 79 car. So before Christmas, you saw me strip all of the paint off, or all of the steel panels, so the back half of the car. And I put a quick coat of, is it etch primer, I think it is, just to cover it so it doesn't rust over winter. Now it's time to start back on the car and get the rust out. Remember, along the back of the car there's a load of rust. I need to cut that out, weld it all up and get ready for spraying. Also a big thank you to all of the members of the channel. Really appreciate you guys standing with me, supporting the channel. We'll keep it going, don't worry. If anyone wants to join, there's a button. I can never remember. Let me see if I can, that side is it, or that side, there's a join button. Have a look in there. I release extra long versions of this video that you're going to watch now. They're sort of like a detailed, probably about just under an hour normally they are. There's a bit more detail in there. And I also do a different series, which is just sort of me chatting about the work I've got coming up and why I do certain things and stuff like that. So please consider joining. But for now, let's jump into the work and get going. Well, it's time to get back on the 79 car. This has been sort of wrapped up now for probably, is it 2 months? Where are we now? We're at the end of Feb, and I probably haven't done a video on this actually before Christmas, so it might be 2.5 months, something like that. Don't go back and check. So where we got to on this then, I have stripped off all of the paint apart from those front panels, because the front panels are going to take away to a company that can dip them, take all the paint off, and I get them to prime them at the same time. And there's potentially a little bit of welding, they can also weld it. So that seems like quite a nice, neat solution to getting the front end of the car stripped. If you remember, that's aluminium. These back panels are steel, which is why I stripped them over there on the grass. Took it back down to bare metal, and then I've sprayed one layer of etch primer on. Was it called etch primer? I think it was, wasn't it? Just so that it doesn't rust over the winter months, which it looks like it hasn't, so that was successful. Now, the next step in all this is this back end. Of course, it needs to be sprayed. It will go off and be sprayed soon, hopefully. But there's a lot of rust around this area. And a very kind gentleman called Johnny was breaking a 928 and agreed to cut me off a panel, which I have here. So that goes up that way. That is the rear end of a 928. And I'll show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so this is that panel. And you can see mine is rusty. I've got a big lump of rust there. It's kind of corroded all the way along the edge. But then I've got really bad sections both of the far sides. Far ends, if you like, which is not looking very good. So this panel comes in here like that, approximately there. Now, on this side, it looks pretty good to me. I think I've got everything there that I need. It actually, where Johnny's cut it, is actually exactly on that rust line, so that's really good. I'll have to have a look. It's quite hard to sort of hold it in place. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's given me everything that I need on that side. That will go in there like that. You can see this big rust hole is, I think, completely covered here. And maybe just a little bit of patching in where he's cut it, but pretty much that's everything I need that side. Now this side's a little bit more complicated, I think. So the panel goes in there, obviously that way a lot more, and it's this bit here that I don't have. So I'm going to have to fabricate that from, just watching the line, yeah, it's about there. So there's a little bit here I'm going to have to fabricate. I don't know how much of this is good metal. I think the answer is probably not a lot. Well, I think when I start cutting this out, we'll find out what we've got. Ultimately, I need to cut all the rust out, whatever it is, because I can't leave anything rusty. So I'll take it back to till we get to nice clean metal, and whatever I don't have, I'll create. The good news is though, all these awkward shapes are contained within this replacement panel. So the big problem I've got, or the big question I've got is, do I just cut out everything in here and replace this one, weld this one back in, not knowing if I can get absolutely perfect height, which I guess I can because I'm going to be coming off of the existing metal, or do I slice mine up, you know, the big hole here, slice it there and there, slice this appropriately and put this in? I think it's probably better if I do the whole thing, isn't it? It's probably, I mean, it's a bit scary, but I'm sure the lock mechanism here has a bit of adjustment. I'm sure I can get the height correct, especially if I weld across, when I've taken all this rubber sealing off. If I welded across a bar to ensure the height, then I can't really go wrong, I don't think. Okay. I think that is probably the best path forward, isn't it? It's interesting just looking where this has rotted. That's exactly the bit that Johnny's given me. It's really handy, isn't it? Yeah, nice work, nice work. Well, I don't know if the guys at Organised can read my mind, but they sent me a smart electric pump the other day to have a look at. And God, do I need it. I've got the GT front tyre goes down all the time. This car, this is my wife's 1 Series BMW. It's got a slow punch on the rear, and I could just go get it fixed. I know, I just never get round to it. So this has been a lifesaver. It's warning at the moment saying, they're run flat tyres, so it doesn't matter too much. It keeps moaning saying you can get it replaced and everything. So I'm going to quickly pump it up because she needs to go out today. And I don't want her moaning, so I'm trying to take it out of the box. So it looks like this. It's a really nice, neat little thing. You take the plastic cover off, turn it on. Let's have a look. I have to hold the button in for a minute. There we go. Right, so that's switched on now. You can see. Then what the battery charges. Oh, that's the. So what pressure it's going to charge up to. Plug it in like that, and then we attach it to the tyre. Amazingly, this wheel's still got a cap on it, which they rarely do. Now, this is actually a really nice fit as well. It's not that stupid thing that you push on and click. This just screws on, really fuss-free. I'm going to do this, so it's at 20.5 now. I'm going to take it up to 32.5. Leave it there. So that's about it. Pretty good, I think. So it's a little tiny box, really nicely made. I'll say that about all of the Organised stuff. It's very solid. I've used it twice, once about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago or something. I've not charged it in between, and it's still, I think it's still 100%. Yeah, still 100%, so that's pretty good. Chuck it in your boot, you never have to sort of think about it. The box comes with different various chargers, different adapters on the end. I noticed it can do football as well, which is really handy for my kids. Really like that. I'm very, very pleased with that. So there's a link in the description. Again, if you click that, you get 10% off, I think it is. So have a look. Right, before I go any further, which is basically the next stage, is to start cutting lumps of metal out. What I want to do is just run the engine up to temperature. It's not been started now for probably, like we said, 2.5 months, something like that, might be even 3 months. And I know these cars and engines have a problem if you let them sit for too long. So I figure if I fire up now, run it up to temperature, I'm not going to move it. I'm not worried about that particularly. Why not use up a bit of the fuel, which I need to get all the fuel out of the car, which I'll drain in a little while and put into the GT. But yeah, just basically let the engine warm up a bit, let the CIS sort of injection system sort of get all the gunk out of it before anything builds up. So let's start it. I'll put you down nice and low, you can see what comes out of the exhaust. So you've probably got 3 months of whatever's up there, so let's see what comes out. I'll let you watch me try to get up. I don't know if I can actually slide down the side there to get the to start it. I'll probably go around the front. Let's do that. My bet is it starts. Good, good, coming up. Hopefully you can hear me. That wasn't a massive surprise that it took so long. I don't know how much I'll show you, but it probably took me 10 minutes to get it started, 5-10 minutes. I probably turned the key 10 to 12 times, you know, cranked it, nothing. I could hear the injector starting to squeal, so I knew fuel was coming through. And I do think the problem was that there wasn't fuel. I have not been started for so long. I'm guessing it sort of evaporates out, or it does something, God knows. But it didn't want to start. But as soon as I could hear the injector start to squeal, it started to sort of kick over. And then I think the next time I did it, it just fired up like that. The engine at the front is super smooth, surprisingly smooth. You'll be able to hear on the audio from this. I'll walk you around there again anyway, just in case. I'll watch the video back and see how much comes out of the exhaust, but I doubt there's a great deal of smoke there. I mean, all you're going to get is a little bit of oil that's dribbling around the valves and down into the pistons. It sort of sits there, accumulates. So you might get a little bit of oil come out, but it's not oily now. It's really, really clean. I'm quite pleased with that. Let's wander around the front. We'll have a quick look at the engine again before we turn it off and shut down for probably what is going to be quite a long time. So there she is. You can hear how smooth that is. I mean, it's a big engine, a relatively noisy big engine. But I think that sounds fantastic. Really nice. You can see a bit of dust sort of creeping in. This is all dust where it's sat there for so long. But it still looks pretty good. It's in pretty good condition. There's my nice Radtech radiator along the front there. You'll see my last video was about fitting the Radtech in the GT, which is going really good. Pleased with that. In fact, you can look how nice this is, but also look how dusty it is there. That looks pretty good there as well, I think. Yeah, it's good to see it running. I think we'll just see if I can pick the revs up. Let's see. I need to get a longer screwdriver just to flick the throttle, which is in there. I won't pick it up much because I don't want to upset anyone. That's pretty smooth, isn't it? I'm just looking, there's water in the expansion tank. Super smooth, love it. So I'll bring that up to temperature and then shut it down. And now what I'm going to do, and I've got really no experience of doing this, but I know that this is the pump. And I'm literally just going to undo it. Now I'm doing it from I'm not going to pump the fluid out because it doesn't go low enough. This is actually a lower point. I'm just going to let gravity feed it out into one of my containers that I've got here. Yep, that's stopped. Gotta tell you. That's almost full. That must have been very close to flowing over the top. Saturday morning, I got to the point now that I decided if I don't start cutting, I never will. So I'm just going to start hacking up some metal out, I think. So here, we're on the inside, what is it, the driver's side, or in the UK, the driver's side, rear wheel arch. This is, the fuel pipe goes along the back here and down there into the accumulator and the filter. These are basically the back end of the little bit of metal that holds the fuel pipe up. And it's rotted away, you know, dirt's got there and just sort of rotted away. So there's one mark there, there's a big hole here, there's signs of one here, oops, sorry, you can't see, down here, not signs, sorry, there's a decent one there. That's on the back of the fuel filler neck, so I need to be very careful here. There's a juicy hole here. This would be where the, I think there's like a vapor tank goes up here. Mine's actually tucked up there somewhere. Can't find it, somewhere up there. I don't have that one fitted on my car at the moment. So I'm going to slice this out as well. What I'm going to do is get a marker pen. This one I explored a bit. You can kind of see, hopefully, if it stays focused, where I've explored where the real metal is. So I'm going to draw on each of these the rough area I want to cut out and get cutting. Fuel was drained out yesterday morning with the garage left open. I've connected all the pipes back up so it doesn't evaporate the fuel from the injection system up the front. but I'm pretty happy there's no fuel back here, or minimal. I mean, there will be fuel in the fuel filter still and stuff. But yeah, let's just cut this piece out and then see where we are and what we're doing. I think we'll learn a lot by doing this first piece. And also the keen-eyed among you will notice this is a flammable blanket I'm using. I don't have anything better, but I don't want the sparks flying off. And on the plus side, if it does catch fire, at least I'll see it, which similar to my cardboard underneath. Right, that's the first square of rust out. This one's a little bit more complicated because I can't really get my disc cutter in there neatly. I'm going to do what I can, but I may end up, I don't know, even hacksawing or with that stupid nibbler I've bought, just trying to get some of it out. But let's see what I can do with this first. All right, that's the bulk of the lines, and I think the last bits I'm going to have to cut with a hacksaw. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get that. I've purposely left that bracket on because it's super solid. I do want to feel on the back side of it and just check there's no rust in there or what the extent is. It's a bit surface rusty here, but I'll grind all that off to make sure we're on solid metal. I'm clear on the back of it, but it's a really complicated one. It's got the, I think it's on the bottom side of it. It's the bracket that holds it all sort of in place. So it's a bit of a pain. Let's take a little bit out and just see where we are with it. It's a tricky one because what I'm trying to do is obviously remove all the rust, but I can't afford to take the whole thing apart and end up with these massive holes and problems. So I want to take some out. So the top edge is, there's nothing on the top edge. It's this bottom edge has got the bracket on. It's the same problem. Let me just buzz that bit out of there. It's the same problem that the bracket has had mud all around it that's corroded the metal away. Well, I've been trying to avoid it, but I can't see any sort of safe way that I can do this without dropping the fuel tank. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. But if I don't drop it, then me welding in there, I worry that I'm going to sort of, the weld's going to hit the plastic tank and it will just sort of go straight through it, and then I'm trying to find a new tank, which aren't pretty pricey, they're not cheap. So what I'm going to do then is disconnect the top here and drop the fuel tank down, straight down. I don't think there's much I need to disconnect apart from the connections here. The cradle underneath should just drop away. I'll put it on my trolley jack, just lower it straight down. That then will be, I can probably get it that far away from where I'm welding. And with my brand new welding blanket, don't worry, I won't be using the cloth blanket anymore. I can protect it, do what I need to do, and then we'll raise it back up. I think that's probably the safest thing. Saturday morning, bright and early, let's get on with it. I just want to say, like, it's very difficult doing this type of thing because I don't know what to do. I've got obviously this replacement panel here, which if I can just unwind it, goes like that. Now, that is the entirety of the back. And I keep looking at it thinking I could just cut it here, cut all the way along and weld this one in. But then I keep looking at it thinking there's so much of this original panel that is good. Am I creating more work than I need to? So I can't decide. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to start cutting out the rust, because ultimately all of the rust needs to come out. So if I just cut out the rust and then let's see where we are. But potentially all I need to do then is look at what I've cut out and remove from here, or cut from here, the bit that I want to put in and weld it in. When I look at it, let's pop that back in there. There's a bit of rust here, there's a bit of rust here, and there's a bit of rust here. There's nothing else on here. And I worry that if I'm sort of cutting this and pissing around with it, you know, going mad on it, I'm just creating more work than I need to. So armed with my trusty angle grinder, disc cutter, whatever you want to call it, I'm just going to go at it. I've drawn some loose lines on there, so I know where roughly I think I should cut. Or basically I know what I've got in that. So the line there is what I've got over there to replace it with. But ultimately the rust needs to come out. So I think if I just start cutting and we see where we go. Right, appreciate you can't see, but the fuel tank is completely removed. You can probably, there was the fuel tank. I've taken it completely out, so there's no risk at all. I'm going to very delicately start just cutting lumps out and see where we're left, see what gives. I'm not pretending I think I've cut enough out yet, but that's just so you can see where I am in that area there. The disc cutter is a bit of a heavy duty device, obviously I can't really get in there neatly. I might have to use some other tools. I don't know what yet because I probably don't have it. But that is definitely like the bigger lumps out. So this, it gives you an idea of what I'm going to have to fabricate. I think I need to come along here a bit more. Whoops, sorry. Got the screen a bit wonky, so I keep misaligning. Along here I'll have to come a bit more. I don't have that, so I'll have to fabricate that completely. And this is the next one. I'm trying to work out how much to take out. I think, see, it's a bit more complicated here. But let's just take a square out and see what's left. Right, it's the same problem there. My disc cutter won't get in. I can go across, but I can't get in there without cutting all the way down here. So I'm just sort of stopping. I've cut along to about there and about the same the other side, because this all needs to come out. I want to look at this leading edge a bit closer and see if that can be ground up. So I'll get the grinder on that, the flat pad. Yeah, okay, it's going smooth enough. Let's walk around to this side then and start hacking away at this bad boy. It'll be much harder to film because I need to be in the way and sort of the edge of the garage, so it's quite hard for me to sort of not be blocking the camera, but let's try. Now again, I've drawn a line across where it represents what I've got in terms of the replacement part, but it's this is potentially a little bit easier because I can see I've boxed out where I need to cut really, is this whole lump here. Let's see what happens. Right, with that out of the way, we can actually see what's going on a bit more. Yeah, actually, it's so weird how rust forms, isn't it? That's all solid. It's just here, literally here. So I think I can cut a triangle out here and rebuild that. And then I think I can patch a piece in here and rebuild that and come across there and rebuild that. I'm going to take a bit more off on there. But ultimately, I think we can save that. I'll get in there and nibble that out in a second and pull that out properly. But yeah, we're just making some progress. I feel quite positive about that. Right, so on further inspection, what I think I need to do is actually take this whole leading edge off because all the way along here, it's not looking great. So I'm going to remove everything under my hand. I don't know how far along to go or how far back to come, but basically that'll give me a new nice edge here. And it's all crap here anyway, isn't it? So I don't need to. I think I'll grind that edge first, but let's. It's always so tricky to tell, isn't it? Let's get the flat pad out and have a look at that first, maybe. I think it's pretty clear what I need to do here now. I didn't need to get this piece out, and I've cut across the top and bottom. I need to actually get it properly out. This top leading edge, I think it's all right. It's pretty solid. I'm not seeing anything scary when I've sort of given it a flat pad and ground it down a bit. I need to do a little bit more here, but I'm not trying to make it perfect now. What I want to do is try and discover how much work there is here, what I need to cut out. And I would say that top edge is probably okay. Less so as it goes along towards the corner, but I can deal with that in a second. One step at a time, my good man. I think what I'll do is I'll just hacksaw this off. It's probably the quickest way without damaging everything around it. Right, so that's all the crap that's behind there. I'm using my rust tester. Surface rust. It's pretty solid actually. Now I need to do the same here. I think I use the same delicate technique. That was fun, it was going up my sleeve. Shouldn't be too hard. Don't ask why I use just a hacksaw blade on its own. I think when my dad gives me the right tool, then I'll use it properly, but until then. A bit of rust along there, but we are actually getting to it, aren't we? So smooth behind there, a little bit run along, but I don't think that's too bad. Like that. Then I can grind that out, and that's a decent little patch I can put in there without any problems. This I would say is pretty much solved, and I will cut it out of the replacement piece. Really easy, no problem at all. This one, let's move along a bit more. Now, this side is a bit more unknown at the moment. I don't have this piece at all in my spare part, so what I cut I'm going to be quite careful with. I'm going to take a bit more off and just see what it's like deeper inside, with the hope that it's not bad. It doesn't look bad, but let's have a look and see what we've got. Right, it's starting to look a bit better, isn't it? So I need to get up in there and just see what's going on. I think I've got it all out, but I feel it. This worries me here. I took a bit more out. I want to really get in there and grind it a bit. I think we'll get the grinder on here and start seeing what we can find. By the way, If you've just come across this channel and realize this guy doesn't know what he's doing, welcome aboard. Click the like button, subscribe, and you can watch how I do it. I don't do it. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I've sort of wrapped it all up now, ready for the week ahead. Not bad. Where I've left it then, I think you saw, I've cut those patches, I've made the holes. What I had the revelation that I've got my compressor, the regulator turned down low, so the joggler's not really hitting it hard enough and creating that really nice sort of indentation where the plate will sit. So I'm going to turn, probably over the next few days, one of the evenings, I might just experiment and check whether that works. If that does, then I'll quickly re-joggle those 3 holes over on that side there and put the patches in, and then I'll probably film the welding side of things, and that'll be, next video will be all the welding of that. The back quarter, the back panel, you saw me and ah, and even standing here now, I don't know which way to go. Do I cut the whole thing out, or just the bits I've cut out? Do I replace the whole thing, or just little patches? I don't know. I think I'm gonna go the patch route because I'm loath to take out good metal, and there's so much of that rear panel is good and solid, providing structural, rigidity. If I go put my panel in, I'm not the world's best welder. I've said it, and I worry that if I go and cut it all out, I've got to weld the entire width of the car. I've got to make that look good, aka grind it down, all the problems, and I'm not really set up. I've got obviously my angle grinder, and I can get to certain things, but I don't have the tools to get really in and do everything 100% how a body shop would do it. I don't have the tools to do it 5% as a body shop would do it. So I always sort of step back a little bit from the full Monty. And I think there's so much good in that panel, I should just keep what I've got, really. That's the way I'm going, I think. Anyway, enough waffling. Leave me comments, tell me what I should be doing down below. Click the subscribe button. You got this far, help me. Click subscribe and like the video. I'll see you next week.